Block 23 of the Tunisian Sampler Afghan is the open cluster block, and this block is very similar to block 15, the lacy cluster, and it's a very open weave block, not one of my favorites, although it's a real pretty stitch pattern, not one of my favorites for an Afghan because little fingers and toes can get caught in it. But we're going ahead and including it here as half a block on my sampler. Okay, to save time, I went ahead and chained 33, and then starting with the second chain from the hook, I brought up a chain in each, brought up a loop in each one of the chains all the way across, and I now have 33 loops on my Afghan needle. So to start the second half, we're going to yarn over, or we're going to chain 3, and then draw through 3. Then chain 3, and draw through 5. Excuse me, yarn over and draw through 5. Which is basically 4 loops plus your chain. And then chain 3, yarn over and draw through 5, all the way across. I'm running out of yarn here. I'm at the end of a skein and it's tangling up on me. I hope I have enough to get through the first half of the next row. Whoops, bumped the camera, sorry about that. Get that cord out of the way. And then we draw through 3 at the end. And basically what you're doing is a half cluster on each end of the row. Now for the first half of the next row, what you have to do is in each one of the chains, in between each cluster, you're going to bring up a loop. So there's going to be 3 in between each cluster. And then 1 in the loop that closes the cluster. And you're going to do that all the way across. And then when you get to the end, double check to make sure you have the correct number of stitches. Because if you find yourself short, chances are, and I'd go a little further along if my yarn wasn't in a knot. There we go. I got some of it loose. Let's see how far I can get. If you end up short, chances are you probably missed a closed loop. So again, 1 in each of the chains. I just hit the camera with a needle. Sorry, folks. I'm so used to twisting my needle, and it's really hard for me to get back into just using the hand to throw the thread over, so I don't do that. So let's try this, which I find slows me down a bit, but that's probably good for illustration anyway. But that's the reason my hand is leaving on the left side, is so I'm not knocking the camera around. Okay, then through the loop. Okay. Then when you come back, the second half of this row, you're going to do it the same way as you did this first row. I'm not going to torture you with going all the way across again. You know, when we get to the end here, we will have gone through all 3 of those loops. I can stop hitting the camera. That should bring you back up to 33. Double check to make sure. Then you chain 3, draw through 2 loops plus the chain. and then all the way across you're going to chain 3 and draw through 5 loops, which is a chain plus 4 other loops. Then chain 3, draw through 5 loops, chain 3 all the way across. Very, very, very similar to the lacy cluster. The only difference is that there were more stitches on the needle and more loops in each cluster. So you had less clusters, and it was slightly more open weave. So let me show you what it looks like when it's done. I can get untangled here. So here's what it looks like finished. And I'm just going to quickly take the camera off this. Here we go. Get that out of the way. And for me, this is the beginning of row 4. And this is actually a half block because I am staggering my blocks, which I've explained in previous videos. So I'm doing 13 rows of this, and you can see it's kind of wonky right now. I had the same issue with the lacy cluster block after I got it, and I went, oh my goodness, that's going to look awful. Well, once you join another block to it, you'd be amazed. It never was square, but it's a nice rectangle. The lacy cluster looks fine, so I'm assuming this one will too as I go further along. So I did 13 rows of that, then my sashing, and then we move on to the next block. So this is block 23, the open cluster. Thanks for watching.